A local teacher needs your help, so you got to get online and you got to vote. Kind of stutter step start to the show tonight. How are you? Nice to have you. My state of mind, Dan York. I speak English. I do broadcasting. My goodness, it's just been, it's been, at least, you know, I got some, Laura's laughing at least. It's one of those kinds of days. How you doing? You're good? You know, after seeing, we don't tell anybody, okay, but we produce the show late in the afternoon. You might see it late at night, but we produce it late in the afternoon. When this story out of Oregon came out, I just said, I can't even comment on it. So we've got nothing in the rundown other than to pray for those kids and those families. It is just, it's unbearable. And in the meantime, in Syria, we've got Russia saying they're doing one thing, and it's clear they're doing another, and that made the rundown last night. And so there's just so many things on one's mind as one begins a show, but we're going to pack as much in as we possibly can here on the rundown, and then we're going to meet a teacher who's got a really terrific project, is in competition for a huge grant, and he needs your help. And so, you know, it's a positive story, and a local educator who's obviously doing some good and has been for quite some time, so stay tuned for that. Let us move to the rundown. If you missed a show, by the way, at 7:30 tonight, that's because when CBS has football, they move Jeopardy to MyRI TV, and we get preempted at 7:30. But hey, 2 out of 3 ain't bad. We're on at 11:30 on MyRI TV, and of course, so many of you are following the show on Fox Providence. .reorg, that would be DOT for you, Department of Transportation. Providence Journal today on the governor's kind of quickie announced press conference yesterday as she details plans to redo things there. You know, frankly, she's got some good ideas. Here's an Eyewitness News capsule of yesterday's events.
A 10-year plan to save taxpayers $1 billion starts with the restructuring of the state's Department of Transportation. Governor Gina Raimondo admits the DOT she inherited in many ways was dysfunctional, saying there was a lack of accountability and they weren't using obvious best practices. And I've decided it's time to change the way we do business at DOT. It's time we fix it. Raimondo's push to reorganize still supports the Roadworks tolling program, stating that the state needs to be less reliant on federal money and needs its own sustainable funding stream. Raimondo tells Eyewitness News, quote, if a bridge collapsed tomorrow, that would fly through the General Assembly, but it shouldn't take someone getting hurt.
I don't think that's true, Governor. If a bridge fell down tomorrow, we'd still be saying, oh, wait a second, we don't need tolls. We just need some emergency funding. And that would be a reprioritization. So let's not get too excited. Look, I applaud the governor for reorging DOT. She has dug out an old consultation to link Chafee that I've read that talks about getting to project managers. Can you believe for all this time at the DOT they didn't have like one person managing a project? There were too many cooks in a kitchen, and nobody was responsible ultimately for, say, the Albion Bridge or whatever. Speaking of Albion, I took a ride from Albion to Manville on Old River Road last night. I thought I was in a third world country. No road, and I'm sure you've got your own stories wherever you happen to be in our fair state. No road should ever be so deteriorated that you literally have to bob back and forth between the correct side of the road and the wrong side of the road in order to avoid all the mess, the potholes, and all that kind of thing. But here's the thing. While she's reorganizing DOT, support, because she's got some efficiencies ideas that are actually very good. Stop, Governor, asking for the money. Why don't you reorganize, create some efficiencies, and let's see in a year how far you've gotten. Okay? We don't need tolls. We need reprioritization of money and some efficiencies. It's going to cost double the amount you raise in bonding to pay for the bonding, and the tolls have to pay for the bonding. Let's find a way through the budget to pay for the bonding. Okay? All right. The governor also is thinking that she's got, I told you when we did this is going to be a mess. A $5 million line item in the budget to market tourism for Rhode Island. Well, they picked the firms. The headline says that there's 3 of them. Before we start, let's go back to Danny York in 8th grade, who loved to watch this commercial.
I live in New Hampshire, but I love New York.
I live in West Virginia, but I love New York.
I live on Cape Cod, but I love New York.
I live in North Carolina, but I love New York.
I
beautiful outdoor country in the world, in New York State. Find out why outdoor lovers from the Carolinas to Canada love to vacation in New York.
I live in Brooklyn, but I love New York.
I love New York. Listen, I grew up in the New York City area, right? We'd sing that all the time. It was a great campaign. And guess what? Here's the good news. The guy who did the I Love New York campaign is picked to do the Get Rhode Island Some Branding Tourism campaign, one of the three companies. Here's the bad news. Old Milton Glaser, who's 86 years old right now, says ever since that campaign, nothing he did matched it. So what are we doing? This is going to be very interesting. There's too short a line item, too little dough, broken up between three companies that are going to share responsibilities. This is a lot to do about nothing. I got a good idea. You know, when you invite people over to your house, say you're having a house party, which is what a tourism campaign is. It's a house party. Come on to our house. What you really got to do is like sweep up first. You know, maybe do some laundry, maybe take the vacuum out, maybe dust a little bit. Why don't we clean up the state before we start acting like hotshots with no money? Because $5 million ain't going to get us anywhere anyway. I love New York. I love Chafee too. Not. Headline, Chafee 38 Studios. It looks like he really screwed this thing up. Remember how disgusted he was about Kurt Schilling and 38 Studios?
There was so much groupthink. I remember going to Lori Waite at the Chamber of Commerce when I was against the proposal, saying, Lori, I'd like to have the Chamber come out against this. And she said, my board's in favor of it. And my jaw just dropped. What's going on in this state? We're going to give a retired baseball player $75 million?
You see how much disgust he had on his face? Well, he stayed disgusted because he was elected, this thing had already been passed, and although he was on record of hating it, he hated it, right? He also let the ball drop. Walt's story.
And I went to visit 38 Studios when I was elected.
After Chafee took office, he replaced all but 2 members of the board and installed David Gilden as the EDC legal counsel. Late in 2011, Kurt Schilling's company approached Gilden to request a special meeting with the Chafee-chaired EDC board. That, according to this request for summary judgment, which states 38 Studios wanted to speak to the board about how the EDC can ensure the success of the company. As EDC Executive Director Keith Stokes and Gilden went to set up the special meeting, according to the document, Chafee forbade them and foiled its efforts to speak with the EDC. The same document includes Gilden's handwritten note stating Chafee would rather they just go away and that the governor doesn't want to be part of 38's story. The governor's deposition includes a much different take. Chafee stating at one point, I wanted to go down and break bread with Kurt Schilling and to pledge my support. I wished him well. Good luck with your company. We want it to succeed.
Come on, man. He let that ball drop. It was a complete I told you so, and he is as responsible for this $100 million debt as anybody in the equation. If he didn't want to be the governor on all issues, then he shouldn't have run for office. He had a responsibility, and he abdicated it. Next item. Here's a guy who takes on a lot of responsibility. Through his Center for the Practice of Nonviolence, he's done incredible work, and now he'll do it in Chicago, where they obviously need him. The violence in Chicago is just awful on the South Side, and Tenny Gross is heading there, and it's a heartbreak for people here in the city of Providence. He was on the program recently and shared some philosophy.
We have found a lot of reasons why we shouldn't be working about the things we all care about actually together. You know, Dan York is a little bit to the right of me. I'm a bit more liberal. As a foreigner, it's absolutely not true. Americans are very engaged and very passionate about this democracy. We might disagree on a lot of things, but this is an engaged society and a caring society.
That was back in January. Hopefully we get Tenny in here before he bids us all adieu and goes to Chicago. Our loss, a significant loss, is Chicago's gain. We wish him the best of luck. Hopefully we get a chance to talk to him before he leaves. And of course, everybody is a little worried about this headline, WPRI.com. And of course, the governor says all the right things.
Well, we're tracking the storm every minute. Right now it's not clear if it's going to hit us or when it will hit us. It looks like the worst of it might be early next week, Monday and Tuesday. But my message to Rhode Island is get prepared. We know it's going to be a storm all weekend. We know there'll be some coastal flooding, especially if you're on the coast. You know, just take precautions, and we're going to be putting out regular updates. So keep your eye on the news, and if anything changes and we think it's going to hit here, obviously we'll get that word out.
Yeah, it's this thing we have with the media running to the governor, like the media is the all-purpose person. The governor's the all-purpose person, right? The forecaster, the coddler-in-chief, the all of that. We've made it that way. Whatever. The governor is having a little trouble right now. She's in a little bit of stutter-step mode herself, and she probably needs a storm. We don't need it, but she could use it. Your state of mind, 228-1886. State of mind at MyRightTV.com. Tweet, Facebook post. And I guess we've had a whole bunch of post-38 studios mindset here. Yesterday, Robert was talking about accountability, that there isn't any. And then Brenda comes up and says, what? By the way, when you type in capital letters, you're yelling. No one in any position in the state of Rhode Island is held to a, boy, oh boy. Some are, but I get your point. It's a bad atmosphere out there right now, and this 38 percolation has only exacerbated it. Keep the faith. I love Rhode Island. A teacher's doing some good work, and he needs your vote next. You know, we love to bring on the heroes of local communities, and when a teacher steps up and says, listen, this is a community need, we want to pay attention, especially when he needs your help to fulfill the community need. Look at this flyer that's running around the state, and certainly in the northern part of the state. Your vote can help bring $100,000 to this project, and here's a little explanation of what it's all about.
My name is Charles Myers, Jr. I teach construction technology, which is electrical, masonry, plumbing, and carpentry in Woonsocket Area Career and Technical Center in Woonsocket, Rhode Island. My Farmer's Dream Big proposal is 21st century solutions working together for a better tomorrow. We're going to develop a piece of property from the ground up, so it'll be 15 years where we can make a difference in the people that buy it, the people that live around it, and the students that learn from it. We did the design work, we did the cost estimating, we've acquired some of the materials, but we need additional funds to complete the project. Please support our construction initiative in Woonsocket, Rhode Island. Support our students and our community and my school in making our blighted neighborhoods a better place. Please vote for our community and our school and our students and help us become a mecca for green construction. Thank you for your support.
I'll vote. That's a great piece. Who did that piece?
Farmers Insurance actually spent a lot of time with us and recorded the shop, and you know, my students also came out.
So Farmers Insurance has got this. By the way, welcome. Nice to have you, Charlie. Farmers Insurance has this Dream Big Teacher Challenge grant. It's a $100,000 top prize.
Correct.
And it's been running for how long now?
I've been trying to research that, and I don't know. I know this year I learned about it and I applied for it, but I know there was one last year, but I don't know how long they've been doing it.
All right, so you are, at least in this year's pool, and you have qualified into a position where you're close to the prize, correct?
Correct. There's been between 100 and 200 applicants. We were selected as one of the top 15 finalists, and now it's up to the public vote.
And is that why, because you were top 15, they came out and did this production and put you into that
Correct.
competitive category?
So this has been put on their web page, and the public gets to go on and choose which one of the 15 that are listed there they would like to see farmers donate, and the top 6 get the money. They get 6 prizes that they give out, $600,000.
Okay, so when is that decision going to be made?
Well, the voting continues every single day of October, and after that they said they compile everything and then they do a big surprise visit back again to notify everybody in December. So hopefully, you know, we'll see them again.
Hopefully they show up on the front step of the school with balloons and everything. Woonsocket Area Career and Technology Center. Tell me about the place that you teach and have taught for what, 18 years now?
Yeah, 18 years. It doesn't seem that long. It just seems like I just started. It's a career and technical center, so I teach construction there, and it's changed over the years. But we try to go out and we do projects within this community. We built houses, we built Energy Star homes. And we've worked with, you know, nonprofits and like the Boys Club or Franklin Farm, which raises food for the food pantries around the state. And we did work for them, and that's some of the video that you're seeing. But we've done, and that's Habitat for Humanity there. So there's a lot of different things that we do, and it's a great place. It's amazing. We're over 90% for our students graduating. I've challenged my students to get to 100% this year. I want every single kid to graduate, and we'll do whatever we're going to do to get them there.
This project is something you identified?
Yes.
How?
Yeah.
Why?
I've been in construction for a very long time, and I got talked into teaching, and I started teaching in Woonsocket, and I really liked it. And one of the things I wanted to see was the trend was not necessarily in an energy efficient construction direction, so I wrote a lot of different grants and things like that, and I've been pushing that. And ever since I started, I wrote my first grant 16 years ago. I have been trying to get to the energy efficiency state, which is called a net zero, which it develops, it creates its own electricity, it does water conservation, it does water reclamation, it does all sorts of different things, passive solar. And I've done training for, you know, solar hot water and all those things. So we're in a really unique position to really build an absolutely fantastic house for someone in Woonsocket.
So you've got all these theories then and practices that you're putting together.
Yeah.
And the students are able to execute?
Yeah.
Under your tutelage?
Yes.
With no other real professional architecture and or help, or?
No, we do get other groups that come in. You know, we have plumbers, we have heating, air conditioning. I reach out to the other career and techs, like in Charahoe, the heating and air conditioning group down there. I'm going to ask them about the heating requirements for the house and send it down there, and we're going to try to come up with a heating system, the best system for it. And, you know, there's other programs within the state that we can contact about, you know, if they want to come up and learn about electrical or different things.
There's a lot of what, camaraderie and collaboration that goes on between the technical schools?
There is a lot more. When I first started, there really wasn't, but now we meet together, you know, 3-4 times.
Who started that, you?
No, no. That was partly mostly, you know, state requirements, and we started changing the state curriculum so that there was apprenticeship hours attached to the things that we're teaching. We teach OSHA 10 safety, so it's a national accreditation. We teach, I'm going to be teaching a lead class, and I'm going to do it during a vacation, so all the career and techs can send kids to it.
Sounds like there's a pretty sophisticated curriculum rolling around the state.
There really is. There's a lot of apprenticeship hours. The NCCR, you know, we adopted that curriculum, and we've had students that went to college for construction management in West Virginia, Mississippi, and they accepted those credits. So that's why we really do it, because they can go anywhere and they're transferable.
All right, so when we come back, we'll talk about the specific project and why your vote is necessary and what it will mean to the community. Stay with us. Some of the work going on at the Woonsocket Area Career and Technology Center. You know, technical high schools, along with every other academic category, I guess, have grown over the years to, you know, pretty sophisticated efforts. These kids come out of this school ready to work, get a job?
Yeah. The biggest challenge we have, and we've had problems with it, is transportation. We're a lower economic, we have economic challenges there, and a lot of the kids, you know, they can't get anywhere. So that's the biggest challenge. Getting them, because, you know, I have employers call.
How large a region does the Woonsocket School draw from?
We take from 4 communities, Burrville, North Smithfield, Cumberland, and Woonsocket.
Okay. And it's part of the Woonsocket High School setting?
Correct. The students come to us all day. They take some of the academic classes at the high school. Some of them are in our career and tech.
Okay.
And then their technical skills with us.
So Charlie, in case you just joined us, he's got this great project through the Farmers Insurance Company. He's trying to grab $100,000 from that company in their Dream Big Teacher Challenge grant. And that is the website right there that you can go to and vote for Charlie's project. And it's, well, is there a specific name for the project when we get on the website?
It's really going to be a picture of me and
you in the video and all of that.
Correct.
You identified, and what you're doing, again, explain to everybody, you're identifying in what is fertile ground for abandoned homes, the city of Woonsocket, a specific home, a specific property in a specific neighborhood for a specific purpose. Tell me what you're trying to do there, along with all the, you've explained some of the technical issues going on with it that'll help your students in terms of their growth, but what about the community's benefit here?
And again, it's been a partner with the city, the planning department, the engineering department, the building department, the mayor's office. We've had multiple meetings and discussions and design plans and things, and they have been fantastic. But you know, the big thing in my grant, when I wrote, if you want to turn around a city, you need people that are going to invest in it. They're going to buy a house, that they're going to live there, and they're going to have a stake in the community. And this particular home, there aren't that many that get built, and the ones that they do get built, they're highly desirable because they're a much healthier house, and they save you a ton of money on heating and air conditioning.
Is there a prescription for the kind of family that will live in there yet?
I don't think so. I think a lot of people want to be greener, and they're conscientious of it, but they don't have all the education that they need to make those choices.
Will somebody from the public buy the house, or will it be a program for somebody? How does that work?
It's definitely going to be someone from the public's going to buy. And one of the things I'd like to do, you know, is maybe partner with Rhode Island Housing. I've spoken with them on a past projects and things like that to try to get a first-time home buyer. You know, we're trying to keep it in that budget range, but it gets very difficult when you start buying solar panels because they get expensive.
All right, so to sum, your brainstorm, your competition, Farmers Insurance supplying the money, you already have gotten some grants, right? Because the cap on this project is not $100,000.
No, definitely not.
How much is the whole thing valued at?
We're working that out. It's going to depend on a lot of different options. Like I said, for instance, if we put a 9-kilowatt solar panels on, that's $30,000. Now you're going to get rebates back, and you're going to get different things back from the state and from the federal government. But you know, again, I'm hoping $180,000, $200,000.
The kids will really benefit from this project, and in more ways than just their curriculum, right? There's a purposefulness to this whole thing.
You know, I always used to say, you know, I knew when we built the house, and we built multiple low-income homes with another nonprofit, when we stood the wall up and the kids were all standing together, and you stand that first wall up, you can see it, you know, they puff out their chests and they're like, yeah, I did that. That looks pretty good. And it's really cool because I get a lot of, you know, correspondence from former students, and they say, yeah, you know, I still drive by that house with my friends, and I say, yeah, I built that.
Good stuff. Well, best of luck. We'll keep in touch. Go to this website, please. Vote for Charlie's project so we can grab this $100,000. Good luck.
Thank you.
Stay in touch with it.
Thank you, definitely.
One more word when we come back. Stay with us. Coming up on tomorrow night's show, we will take a look at 38 Studios from the perspective of a former state rep who was politically damaged by it, and a local citizen who wants a special type of hearing about it. All tomorrow night. We'll see you on the radio at noon tomorrow on WPRO as well. Good night.